and it's 4:31, and I don't like making people who are on time wait. So one of the things that we are going to be talking about today, or what we're going to be talking about today, is building a business plan. Okay. So one of the challenges in being a 1099 employee or owning your own business or being in charge of basically your funds is that you still need to prospect, right? You still need to make money. And prospecting is an amazing part of, building your brand, building your business, is how you get referral partners. So how do we get there? How do we get to the point where we are consistently getting referrals, consistently getting clients? Well, first you have to have a plan. Now, if you want 2025 to work for you the best, you have to start now with what you want to accomplish, what will make you feel accomplished next year. Okay. So moving through, before you can figure out what your goals are, okay, one of the things I teach any new loan officer or realtor that I talk to, you have to understand what your mission, vision, and values are. Okay. I like to think of your mission as being your car, your vision being the destination of where you want to get to, and your values being the gas that drives the car. So mission, right? That's the first thing you want to define. What is your purpose right now? Where are you right now in the value that you're providing to your clients in the Philadelphia area? What is your purpose? Okay, what are you doing right now in your business? What do you want to do right now for your business? Your vision, very similar to your mission, but this is your aspirations. This is where you're going to be in years to come. This is what you're going to be. So, for example, one of my missions, right, is to be a top producer in Philadelphia area, to be able to service those undeserved or underserved areas. Okay. And my vision is to help 400 people in the next 5 years become homeowners who never thought they could. That's on top of the other deals I want to do. So that is just one of my missions and my visions. Now, your values, like I said, this has to drive your mission. This is going to be the gas in the car that gets you to your vision, right? So mission is the car, vision's where you're going, and the values is what's going to drive the car. Okay, so these are your principles that are going to guide your decision making, shape your client relationships. There's an activity my coach had me do. It was a lot of fun, where it was a sheet, and I'll email the participants after this. There's a sheet of paper where it lists out probably about, I don't know, 80 different values, right? Some of them were very similar, but 80 different values on a sheet of paper. And you had to cross everything out until you got to 5. Okay. You have your top 10, but your top 5 values, and you can narrow that down even to your top 3 values, is really what's going to drive you and motivate you every single day. Your goals, your decisions need to be focused around those values. It's a phenomenal activity, and I recommend everyone going through it, because that actually helped me this year go through a change, or decide on something that I wanted to do or had to do. So before you even, start thinking about, okay, well, how much money do I want to make? How many people do I have to talk to? What do I have to do to do all this? You got to understand why you're doing it, right? What is your mission? What is your vision? What are your values? Now, what goes along with your why, okay, your goals, right? So now that we have our mission, our vision, now we can set really good goals, okay? Goals that matter. I read a book, and I forget what it was called, but it was written by a direct sales woman, and I will never forget this line. Like, she said, your goals have to be selfish. If your goals aren't selfish, you're never going to want to attain them. They're not going to be motivating enough for you. If you're doing something for someone else, that's not enough motivation. No matter how much you love, trust, and adore that other person, it's not a goal for you. You are going to be way more productive than if you set actual personal goals for yourself. And what that means is that you're allowed to be selfish. Okay. You can still take a good goal and turn it into something that's self-reflective. Okay. Something that actually helps you. So what you want to do is you want to ask yourself why. You want to ask yourself why that's important to you 5 times. Okay. So take your first goal. Most people will say they want to be successful and why they're doing this for their children, right? I want my kids to have a good life. Okay, why do you want your kids to have a good life? Well, for me personally, I want my kids to have a good life because I don't want them to have to want for anything like I had to. Why is that important to me? Well, that's important to me. Now we're on the third why. That's important to me because I know how stressful and how much trauma that can cause and how that can hold you back from doing some things in your life that you really want to do. Okay, so why is that important that my kids can do that? Well, because then I'm going to have a satisfaction that I'm a good mom, right? That took me 4 whys. I want to know that I'm a good mom. That's a goal, being a good mom. And it is selfish if you think about it. Yes, you are helping your children, but you want to feel like you mattered in your kid's life. And that's deep. And that's what your goals have to be. They have to be deep, right? You can even do it with a number goal, and you're allowed to do it with a number goal. I want to make $300,000 next year. Why do you want to make $300,000? Well, because it'll give me financial stability. You can list all the reasons. And one of those reasons you're allowed to say, because man, I will walk around like the goat. You're allowed to have that as a goal. I want to walk around like I'm the best realtor on the planet, that I'm the best loan officer on the planet. You are allowed to want that. If it's going to motivate you, if it's going to motivate you to do the activities that you need to do every day to get you to your goal, that's fine. Don't let anyone tell you you can't be selfish with your goals, because even acts of altruism have underneath them acts of selfishness. It makes us feel good when we do good. And you're allowed to feel good for doing that. There's nothing wrong with feeling good. That's why it feels good to do good things. It actually feels better to do good things, right? It's why when we get success off of doing good things, it feels so much better. It's more satisfying. I can tell you 100% I'd rather do 10 deals at, $100,000 than do 2 loans at $500,000, just because somehow those loans, those 10 people, they need it more. And it makes me feel better. And maybe they're more challenging and it makes me feel better. So you know what? That's okay. Is it easier to do the 2? Absolutely. Would I ever turn them down? No. Send them. It's great. But my point is that, we always sometimes think, well, we always have to give up our needs for others. You don't. You can have both. You really can have both. You just have to understand what your goal is. And when you have your personal goal set, when you have your goals understood to the point that they're really meaningful to you, then every action you do has to align with that goal, has to align with your values. So this all kind of flows together. That's why you need to understand who you are and why these things are important to you. Okay, so I'm a fan of having different types of goals, right, in my business, because it all kind of builds into this harmony. So I believe in having personal goals. Okay, again, work-life balance, I don't really believe in, but work-life harmony, I do, right? So your personal goals kind of have to intertwine in your professional goals, right? Both need to be measurable. They both have to have an impact on who you are and what it is you're doing to get there. So when you're building your business plan, you're setting your goals, don't be limited. Okay, the first goal you think of, I want you to ask yourself why that's important to you at least 5 times. You might go a little bit, you might go like 4, but like try to get to that fifth why. Why? Ask your why 5 times, is why it's important to you. So you can really get into what it matters. And that's your goal. Because that's inside you. That's going to motivate you to keep going. And I'll tell you, it's hard sometimes to keep going. It's hard sometimes to do all the activities that are going to meet your goals. We all know what we have to do. So if we all know what we have to do, why don't we all do it? Well, because we haven't made that connection in our brains. We haven't made that emotional connection between our mission, vision, values, and goals. Okay. So once you have your goals, you do have to have action items, right? You have to figure out, okay, great. How am I going to get there? What does the roadmap look like? What are the things that I have to do? And, most people tell you, oh, write down your activities, 5 activities. I say start small, okay? There's 12 months in a year. Okay. If you're not currently right now doing the things that you need to do to reach your goals, you're starting at 0. You cannot go from 0 to 100, right? You're going to burn out you're going to burn out your motor. You're going to kill your car. Okay. You're going to get to the point where like, oh my God, it's too much. It's overwhelming. You're not going to do any of it. Okay. Start small and then build habits. Habit forming is a huge part of reaching your goals and getting your business to where you want it to be. Building habits is like the foundation. Now, sometimes your habits might be business oriented, they might be personal, whatever they are. You got to think about, what are the things that I know I need to do? Write them down. Okay. Write all of them down. It's fine. When you write them down, I want you to highlight the top 3 things that you wrote down. Those first 3 things are always going to be the most important to you. Highlight them. Those are the only 3 habits I want you to focus on for the next 90 days, maybe 60 days if you have a lot, right? But only focus on incorporating these new habits into your routines. Now, if you've ever read the book Atomic Habits, there's several ways you can do it. I'm a fan of habit stacking, where I take something that I already do every single day and I somehow incorporate the new thing I want done on top of that. I tell my kids all the time, they're teenagers now, they're budding teenagers. They need to wash their face more. So I was teaching them how to do the habit. I'm like, okay, what do you do every single morning? They go to the bathroom. Okay, what do you do after you're done going to the bathroom? Like, they wash their hands. Perfect. So you're going to go to the bathroom, you're going to wash your hands, then I want you to wash your face. So you're already there, you're already at sink, you already do these things. Now let's just add one more step to it, right? And that's another thing that you can do when you're trying to incorporate a new habit. So let's say you want to prospect, and your prospecting is making phone calls. And right now you make 0 phone calls a day. What you want to do is you want to look at what you already do well and try to incorporate that. So it's going to be very hard to start making 2 hours worth of phone calls if you're making none right now. So start small. Maybe I'm going to make 5 phone calls. Make 5 phone calls every day. How many of you could make 5 phone calls every day? Keeping in mind, 80% of them aren't going to answer the phone, right? So you really, at most, maybe you're talking to 1 to 2 people, right? It's very, very easy. But we get in our head because we think 5 phone calls, 20 minutes each. Oh my God, that's so much time. No. They're not all going to answer, right? Even if you make 3, if 5 is too much, start with 3, start with 2, start with 1. 1 is still better than the 0 you're making right now. And I need you to understand that as you're building your habit, something is still better than nothing. Okay, so if you want to do something every single day and you're not doing it any days during the week, don't say, I'm going to do this every single day. Say, I'm going to do this twice a week or once a week. Then when you're good at doing the once a week, say, now I'm going to do it twice a week. Then go twice a week. You don't want to go backwards because that's harder, or it's easier just to go from, going every single day, let's say gym, right? Well, that's one of the main things that people think about. Go to the gym every single day and you start off strong with the first week. Yay, did it. Well, by week 2, maybe you get sick or you're hurting or something. So now you skip a day and you give yourself that, okay, nothing happened to you. The world didn't end. So now we're going to skip another day and the world didn't end. And now you're not going anymore. It's easier to build up than to go down. So build up, give yourself grace. That's an example of how we can give ourselves grace while we're building these habits. You're not going to go from not doing something to being perfect at it. It's impossible. You need practice. And that's why you need to build it up slowly. So if you haven't already read Atomic Habits, I highly recommend that book. It is life-changing. I do read it at least twice, maybe 3 times a year, just to remind myself how to build the habits. It's a phenomenal book. The second thing, accountability partnerships. Okay, accountability partnerships. In everything I learned, I've always related to a book. But in the book by Napoleon Hill, the name escapes me right now, which is so funny. Sorry, I just got distracted by my cat. The Think and Grow Rich. In the book Think and Grow Rich, one of the main pieces of that book is building your network, right? Building your people. You should have a small network of people that you can rely on to help brainstorm, to help think about things. And, if you're a realtor, it could be a group of 5 realtors. That's okay, right? You're all in the same business, which is fantastic because you can all kind of bounce different ideas off each other. No one realtor is the same. And guess what? There's plenty of deals out there for everyone, believe it or not. So by creating this nice group of people that understand what you're talking about, you can then brainstorm ideas. But then imagine what happens if you grab someone who's not even close to the real estate world and you throw them in the mix. Now you have this fresh set of eyes looking at the ideas that you have going, well, what if you did this, this, and this? And now you're gaining a perspective you never would have had before. So when you're thinking about surrounding yourself with accountability partners and people to help you, don't just stick to the one box, right? Think outside the box. Grab people from different areas that maybe you just align with your values or align with your goals or align with your mission or your vision in different industries, because you're all going to help each other. And in the book, Think and Grow Rich, it really kind of covers like a lot of it is like how Carnegie built his empire. And, all of his ideas came from listening to other people like Ford and all of those, 1920s industry, gurus. So there's some benefit to that. Think about how good you feel when you come out of a networking group and you've maybe vented to some people who understand what you're talking to, or you've brainstormed with some people and you're re-energized, right? That's awesome. And there's a power to that. There's a power in that group thing. So you want to add this into your goals of having some sort of partnership with a group of people that, again, align with you, align with your values, but not necessarily have to be in your industry. Okay. And the third thing to help with your strategies and help with your goals, be adaptable. The biggest thing going on right now that we're all trying to adapt to is the AI stuff, right? Which is so hilarious because AI has been in our lives so long. If you have an iPhone, Siri has been on your phone for over 10 years. I don't even remember when Alexa came out. That's all AI. And all it is just zeros and ones being prompted to do something. It's just now it's reacting to voice and it's responding in a voice. But all is the 0 and 1s. It's a question. Yes, a question, it gets a response. Okay. So, you have to adapt to those changes. Are there good and bad things about it? Absolutely. Whenever there's change, there's always good and bad. You want to take the good, focus on the good, and adapt it to your business. The real estate world, the other big thing that, the big buzz thing this year, your commissions. If you're a buyer's agent, how are you going to get paid? Now you have to have complicated conversations with your buyers, right? And you're not used to it. That can get a little awkward. Seller agents, now you have to have that conversation, or maybe the seller brings it up and you have to explain that it's kind of the same thing it's always been. But now that it's in the news, maybe it's going to be a little harder to convince them to pay a buyer agent commission. And you have to navigate that. And, again, both sides have its strengths and weaknesses, but you just have to adapt to those changes and not view it as, okay, this is going to stop my business completely. It's not. It's how do I work this in to my, guess what? Mission, vision, and values. Okay. How you react to anything, any big changes has to always be aligned with those things. Okay. And I think that's really important. And we forget that a lot in our world. But that really, really rang true with me this year. And that's why I want to kind of make this kind of point is the things you do must still align. So when you write down your vision, mission, and values, I encourage you, just like you would a vision board, have them posted. Do you ever go into corporate America? Do you ever go in corporate America and their vision is posted, their mission is posted, they have their values all over the place? You see it in banks a lot, you see it in stores and stuff. There's a reason for that. If you've ever worked in corporate America, there's a reason they make you memorize that. Okay, because they want you always thinking about those things, and your actions have to react to or have to be aligned with those things. It's extremely important, and it's motivating. It keeps you aligned with what you want to do and helps you make those decisions. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about, your mindset. Okay. Building a business plan, you have to understand that your personal growth has to be built into it as well. Okay. I could go in here and I can tell you how to make your financial goals by walking backwards with the numbers and figure out how many clients you need to talk to a day and blah, blah, blah. But I don't think enough goes into your business plan being circled around you. I don't think a business, not many people talk about why being positive can help your business grow, right? So, embracing your challenges, what that means is when you reach a roadblock, okay, and everyone's going to hit a roadblock. This is real estate. There's roadblocks all the time. The most easy sales will still have roadblocks, right? Embracing those. Facing them head on and going, you know what? What did I learn from this? How can I fix it? What's the solution? Being solution focused, right? But don't beat yourself up about it. That's the other thing in the real estate business we like to do. Lament. Oh my gosh, how could this possibly have happened to me? Oh my gosh, how could this possibly have? Oh no, how did this, what do we do? No one will ever want to work with me again. They're going to think I'm the worst seller's agent. They're going to think I'm the worst buyer's agent. I told them to do this and they did, and now it didn't work. If you're a lender, I'm the worst lender. I have been the worst lender in my head 100,000 different times. Those negative thoughts don't work. It's not going to make you magically be better. It's going to prevent you from doing the things you still have to do to get your business moving. Okay, so what? You made a mistake. So what? You failed. Who cares? No one actually cares that you messed up. I promise you. I promise you no one actually cares. Okay, if they do, why do you care? Right? And I know it's a hard thing to embrace, but embrace that challenge of I'm not perfect. I made a mistake. Let me grow. Let me learn and be better next time. Right? So on the heels of that, it's also really celebrate your successes. If you celebrate your successes, not dwell on your mistakes but just embrace them as challenges and as learning experience, and really slap yourself on the back and clap yourself on the back every time you succeed at something, you're going to feel more accomplished. Okay. If you are setting your goal and you're calling 0 people and your goal is to call 100, well, celebrate when you call 10, right? Give yourself hey, I did it. Give yourself an extra coffee break or a piece of chocolate or something. Celebrate it, right? You did something more, and keep doing that. And the more you recognize the good things you're doing, the easier it is to embrace those challenges and those things we do when we mess up. Okay. And the other thing that's going to help us get to our goals is focusing on our being gratitude, embracing gratitude. Focus on those positive aspects that we're doing for people, helping them in their home. One of the things I do when I talk to my clients is I always ask them now, why is now a good time to buy a home? What are you looking forward to most? As a lender, I don't really need to know what kind of home they're looking for. I don't. I need to know, can they afford it, essentially. But by knowing and understanding what this means to them on a deeper level, it helps me have a better sense of gratitude towards what I do for a living. It helps me understand that what I'm doing is bigger than what people may put it in. I'm helping someone change their life, get a better school system for their kids, or, just a better, have the kids have their own room or whatever, peace of mind, their first home ever. And they maybe it's a condo, who cares? It's changing their life. And I'm grateful for that. So take those opportunities to find those things to be grateful in your business and in your personal life. And you're going to see a more abundance of those things you're trying to achieve. Okay. And I know, all right, the positive thinking thing feels hokey sometimes. I get you. But again, I'm going to go back to that book, Think and Grow Rich, which was written in the 20s and 30s. Okay. Long time ago, right? Before all that, right? Even in that book, it's written to have a positive mindset. That mindset is so important in building your business and being successful. I mean, it goes deep enough to say, basically, if you think you're sick, you're sick. So stop thinking you're sick and you won't be sick anymore. It's a little weird, but there is some truth to that, right? And that was back then. So the idea of having a positive mindset and being successful is not far-fetched. It's nothing new. It is nothing new. Successful people have known this for a long time. So make sure you write in your business plan ways that you are going to embrace your challenges, celebrate yourself, and give grace and gratitude. Have grace and give gratitude. Okay. So now in Philadelphia, what you're going to have to do is also understand where you are. Understand your market. You want to leverage local insights, capitalize on your opportunities. Okay. Be different. One of the best posts I've seen so far is someone posted a picture of their listing, and it says, this is how much you can get for X amount of dollars in X area in South Philly or whatever. It was fantastic, right? You're showing someone who may be thinking, oh, I'm only pre-approved for X amount of dollars. Hey, this is all that you can get. Look at this. This is fantastic. Right? That's part of understanding your market. Understanding that, there's different levels to it. Local insights. If you've watched the show, Emily in Paris, it's a fantastic explanation of how to leverage local insights. If you haven't seen the show, it's about this woman who moves over to Paris to work for an advertising agency, and she builds her brand in Instagram or one of the social media sites by taking picture of the local area. Pictures, flowers, people just being people, things like that, little spots, and showing the world Paris in a different light. Who says you can't do that in Philly? Right? Who says you can't do that in Philadelphia? Showing all of the beautiful murals, showing all the beautiful spots. If you live in a certain area and they have wonderful restaurants, why not go there once? Talk to the owner saying, hey, I love eating here. Would love to do a 30-second shout out to you. Would you mind? And you do a 30-second video shouting out to that business. You're going to be known as the person who loves that area, right? And then your hashtags are super important. Okay. And then find your opportunities. Do your research. Do your research on which areas are starting to grow and become more popular. And market there. That's where your marketing should be at. Okay. Market to the areas, not only that you can stand out, but market to the areas where you want to do business in. Right. And just like your financial portfolio, you should be diverse. Right. Have different niche markets. Figure out what your niche is going to be and figure out where that's going to fit in. Right? And then finally, you have to implement it. You have to implement your plan. Every great plan is wonderful on paper, right? And you can spend all day planning till the day is long and put on paper and have it, and it can be beautiful. It means nothing if you're not implementing it. So implementing it requires a couple different things. Number one, excuse me, number one, you have to be constantly tracking your goals. Okay. It's great to have a goal. Look at the activities you have to do to meet that goal and track those activities. So if you need to talk to one person a day about real estate to make your goals, you better be writing down how many days a week you've talked to someone and the activities you did. So this way you can identify, okay, I've made, let's say, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I made 20 phone calls and had 2 conversations each day. Fantastic. I talked to 1 extra person this week. That is a good activity, right? But if on Mondays and Thursdays I went door knocking and talked to nobody, well, those aren't good. Maybe those aren't good activities. Now keep in mind, these aren't things you can't track it in 1 week and go, oh, I know what I have to do now. It has to be, monthly or quarterly. I would say quarterly personally, every quarter, look at the activities you were doing because you track them and see what worked and what didn't. If you're not tracking what you're doing, how do you know what's working? You won't be able to really kind of, narrow it down to the best activities. Wouldn't it be great if at the end of 2025, you have 5 activities that guarantee you a deal a month? Wouldn't it be awesome? And you can do that. You can do that by monitoring and tracking what you do for an entire year. Okay, monitoring and tracking what you do every single day. Measure and adapt. Again, this goes back to tracking your results. When you're reviewing what you're doing, right? And I would say review every quarter. What did I do? How did it work? What did I get out of it? Right? You can adapt to different things. Now, I say every quarter because our business is cyclical. Okay. We have seasons. Right now we're heading into our slow season, which is a great time for us to do things like learn a CRM program, get a coaching program involved, plan, write down, build our habits. Okay. Even though we're not expecting to get much in the slower season, we can start building those habits of making phone calls so that by come January and February, we're already used to making 20 phone calls a day or 50 phone calls a day because we've took these 3 months and built that habit up. Okay. Measuring and adapting. And obviously you can tell I'm a big fan of continuous learning. You should have some knowledge of what's going on in your market. You should have some knowledge of what's going on in the industry, staying on top of that stuff, and just, general knowledge on how to sell or how to become a better person or how to be more in tune with who you are. Continuous learning, you should never be the smartest person in the room. I'm a firm believer in that. And by being being a person who continuously learns, you're going to be able to adapt easier. Change is going to come easier to you, and you're going to be able to maintain different habits and structures because you're learning new ways of doing things. Okay, so that's it. So that's kind of my presentation on building a good business plan. I know it's kind of unique than what most people go through. They think business plan is going to be okay, know your numbers and figure it out. And I used to do that, but again, I wanted to kind of focus on something a little bit different now. And, seeing how it can really help you in the next year, really help build a strong foundation and a strong way of a strong, basically, plan of action. Are there any questions? Let's see, I see D, you came on. Do you have any questions, comments, anything you'd like to add? There you are. I see it moving around. I'm not sure if you have any comments or questions. If anyone does have any, if you're watching this on the replay, there you are. Hello. If
Hey,
you are
sorry,
watching,
yeah.
hi. Any comments or questions? Anything you'd like to add?
No, everything that you said was on point. It's definitely especially, the part about writing things down and keeping it, tracking it. That's always an issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to track everything because you're always trying to get to the next thing. Um, So I want to say thank you for, obviously most of you are going to be watching this on a replay. That's fine. Anyone who has registered for this class, you're going to get a copy of the slides, copy of the video recording. And I will be sending over the list of values for you to do that little activity on. Because again, I found it extremely valuable to me doing that activity. And, it really helped me figure out, a big decision in my life. So thank you for your time. And don't forget to register for the next several classes. We're going to be talking mortgage basics for realtors, which is going to be great. I promise I won't bore you with how to become a loan officer. It's all just the basic information you're going to need to know to help navigate yourself and your clients through the process. We're going to be talking about AI in the following weeks, and I have found some really cool, fun techniques with AI. I have a special guest coming on November 12th, I believe it is. She's going to be talking about how to stage your home using what's already there to maximize your selling price. And then my favorite that I always love doing